Operation Gravel Gladiator, a homeowner's last stand. It started with a sound, a low crunch of rubber on gravel, followed by a sharp screech and the indignant honk of a horn. I looked up just in time to see a Range Rover tearing down my private driveway like it was a freeway on-ramp. The driver, some punk kid in a varsity jacket, looked right at me like I was the one in his way. He didn't slow down. He zipped past my garage, swerved around my dog, and shot through a makeshift gate onto the next street. 30 seconds later, another car followed. Then another. Just like that, my peaceful dead-end driveway, on private land I'd paid a premium for, had somehow become the HOA's new shortcut. That's when I realized this wasn't a mistake. This was an invasion. 3 days earlier, things had been quiet. My wife and I had bought this place on a corner lot specifically because of the long, curved driveway that kept us away from the chaos of the main neighborhood road. I work from home as an industrial engineer, and peace and quiet are more than just luxuries. They're necessities. But that week, I noticed something odd. More tire marks near the hedges. I figured it was the mail carrier turning around, or maybe the neighbor kid practicing his driving. No big deal. Until the third day. That's when I found a paper sign nailed to a wooden stake near my lawn. It read, Community Flow Access. Temporary routing approved by HOA. I'm not naive. I know how HOAs operate. I've seen them argue for 20 minutes about mailbox paint. But this, rerouting traffic through private property, was a whole new level. Still, I wanted to believe it was just a mix-up. I took the sign and marched down to the HOA office, which was conveniently located in a converted model home. That's where I met her, Karen. Yes, that was her real name. And yes, she lived up to it. Karen had the posture of a swan and the voice of a perfume commercial narrator, until you disagreed with her. Then it turned to full-blown sarcasm and passive-aggressive jabs. She smiled at me like I was a toddler who had wandered into a board meeting. Oh yes, she said. We just needed a temporary flow solution for the Maple Drive construction. It's only for a few weeks. Your property is just so accessible. I told her she had no legal right to use my land as a throughway. Her smile widened. She tapped her iPad and said, technically, it's adjacent to the community boundary. That makes it a soft access zone, if approved by the board. I asked her to show me where that clause existed in any zoning law, agreement, or covenant. She replied, oh, I'd be happy to, at next month's board meeting. By then, of course, the Maple Drive project would be done. I walked home, trying to stay calm. Maybe I could just install a gate. But the next morning, I woke up to find that the HOA had already installed one. Not a gate to keep people out. No, a gate to let them in. They'd torn out a bush, laid cheap gravel across the side of my yard, and planted reflective traffic cones and a painted wooden sign. Exit only. Please drive slow. I called my cousin Tyler. He's a lawyer, not the mahogany desk Harvard type. More like flip-flops and brisket in the backyard. But he's deadly when it comes to property law. I told him what happened. Take pictures, he said. Document everything. Don't touch the gate. Let them think they're winning. We'll make them pay for every inch. The next day, I was drinking coffee on the porch when a parade of SUVs rolled through. 7 in total. One honked because my trash bin was in their way. Another driver waved like I was a valet. The final straw? A mom in a minivan asked if I could move my mailbox to make her turn easier. That evening, I caught my neighbor, Mitch, lurking by the hedges. Mitch is a decent guy, the kind who volunteers for HOA cleanup but sneaks off to fish during board meetings. He looked guilty. I didn't want to say anything, he muttered, but Karen's trying to make this permanent. She's petitioning the county to recognize your driveway as an easement, calling it an unofficial emergency route. She just needs 3 more board member signatures. That night, I stood by the edge of the driveway with a beer in one hand and my dog Max by my side. They try and steal our land, Max? I whispered. Not figuratively. Literally. But they underestimated me. I used to design mechanical deterrent systems. Think forklift barriers, tire shredders, remote access gates. If Karen wanted to turn my driveway into a road, I was about to show her how unwelcoming a road could be. But before I could launch my counterstrike, the HOA doubled down. The next morning, 4 guys in neon vests with Community Grounds crew On their backs were sawing through my wooden fence. Not trimming, not repairing. Full-on sawing with power tools. I sprinted outside in sweats and barefoot. "What are you doing?" One of them waved casually. Karen approved this. Creating alternate access from the park trail. Gotta maintain flow. That cursed word again. I demanded a permit. He shrugged. Community land adjacent. I pointed to the fence. "That's my property." He said, "Talk to Karen." Then they packed up and left, leaving a 5-foot hole in my fence. I called the police. They were polite but hesitant. Said it was a civil matter unless I could prove criminal intent. That night, I showed up at the HOA's emergency meeting with a poster board on my property lines and a USB of surveillance footage. Karen perched at the head of the room like a smug CEO. "Oh, you're here," she chirped. "We were just talking about you." I raised my concerns. She feigned surprise. "Oh, that was a miscommunication. The crew thought it was Greenbelt." Then she pivoted. "But your driveway is now a key exit for the neighborhood. Removing it would jeopardize public safety." She clicked her iPad. A slide popped up. "Temporary easement proposal, parcel 63A. My parcel. Comique sans but de point." Highlighted green on the neighborhood map. I tried to interject. She ignored me. I shouted, "That land is privately owned. You need county approval." Karen sighed. "We'll vote." The board, people who'd either never spoken to me or fined me for leaving out recycling too early, voted 3-2 in favor. Karen smiled. Proposal passed. Non-binding. For now. Tyler watched the whole meeting via live stream. He called me after. "She just shot herself in the foot," he said. "She introduced false claims into an official proposal. If we can get her to admit she knew, we've got leverage." When I got home, I found a letter taped to my garage. "Dear homeowner, the pilot phase of community flow routing is now underway. Please remove any obstructions to allow smooth passage." Wah! With a smiley face sticker. I laughed. Then I got to work. To be continued.